What's better than one Power Ranger team? Two Power Ranger teams. Crossover episodes. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's up everybody, it's Este here and welcome back to another video, and today we'll be talking about the different types of crossovers seen in Power Rangers. We all love crossovers between different Power Rangers teams, just as much as we love crossovers between different YouTubers. And today, I'm not alone, so I'll let my guest talk. Take it away, Orange Ranger.
Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger. Este, thank you so much for having me on your channel here. It was a lot of fun having you along on my channel to review Grid Connection, and now the two of us are teaming up again to discuss some of the best team-ups that the Power Rangers franchise has seen across all of its media. Now, this list that we're going to present to you viewers, it's not my list, it's not Este's list, it's a merger, a team-up if you will, of the two lists. Este had some stuff listed that I didn't, and I had some stuff listed that Este didn't. But we negotiated, we hashed it out, and this is one list that we both think is pretty good. So Este, how about we get to it?
Let's get right into it. Without further ado, these are the top 10 Power Rangers crossovers of all time. Number 10, TMNT and the Power Rangers.
Two superhero franchises that have stood the test of time and have run kind of side by side and been compared to each other a lot are the Power Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The likelihood is, if you're a Power Rangers fan, you're probably a Ninja Turtles fan as well. I know, being my age, I grew up in the 80s with the cartoon that I think really brought the Turtles into the mainstream, and then I moved right into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and became a huge fan of that. So it was such a thrill finally seeing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles join forces on the pages of Boom Studios comics. There was input from the IDW writers, but mainly the Boom staff handled this one, and I think they did an excellent job. Everyone was characterized really well, little mistakes, little foibles here and there, but everyone was characterized really well and they got everyone involved. My favorite part of this team up is really that you see the two kind of cross over into the other's turf. As you see it, we start out with the Power Rangers kind of going into the Turtles' lair, and then they become ninjas as the story goes on. And then you get to see the Turtles, this is kind of a big spoiler if you haven't read it, but you get to see the Turtles become the Power Rangers. They're in the command center, they're morphing, they're driving the Megazord. It was an excellent event and it was really excited, and that's why I had it ranked so highly for this list. So highly for this list. So highly for this list.
Number 9, History. Now, this episode History is the first of two different SPD and Dino Thunder crossovers, and personally I enjoyed this episode a lot more. This episode was all about how the Dino Rangers are transported nearly 20 years into the future, with villain Broodwing looking to take the Dino power to destroy the SPD Rangers and the whole world. Only the main 3 Dino Rangers return in this first episode, but that's fine, as that gives a lot of time for the teams to bond in civilian footage. And that's what I love about this episode, the connection between these two teams. Considering the Dino Rangers are from the past and the SPD Rangers are from the future, this was a great time to bring Rangers from two different time periods and have them bond, and they did it in such a great way too. The final fight at the end is also amazing, with slow-mo shots and explosions alike. It was also nice to see how the Dino Rangers impacted the world after being done with their Ranger duties, and seeing how they react to the future also gave for some funny moments. Overall, History, an amazing SPD and Dino Thunder crossover. A must watch if you haven't already. Number 8, To the 10th Power.
To many Power Rangers fans, I think To the 10th Power is really the first team up they think of, at least chronologically. There may have been others that came before, but when you ask them to think about the first team up that they can think of, it's going to be To the 10th Power. You combine two pretty well-liked teams in the In-Space Rangers and the Lost Galaxy Rangers, and really there's a third team teamed up into this, sort of, because they're adversaries. I'm of course talking about the Psycho Rangers. There's a lot of great fights in this, and what I love is it's really characterized well, especially when they had to kind of ad-lib in the last minute. get to an episode that Este is going to talk about, hint hint, but they decided to put this plan in place where these characters stayed a little bit longer and got a little bit closer with the other Ranger team than you would normally see. Great fights with the Psycho Rangers, like I said, and just a really exciting, well-written, well-choreographed episode. And that lineup of all of them there with the Magna Defender and just all of the Rangers standing there with the explosions is one of the images that comes to my mind when I think about a team up. So that's why I really like this one.
Number 7, MMPR and the Justice League. Now, I bet you didn't see this one coming. The Justice League and the Power Rangers is a 6-issue event, which has the Power Rangers accidentally being teleported to an alternate universe, the DC universe, with the likes of Batman, Superman, and many more DC heroes. The Rangers meet the Justice League, a legendary team in the comic universe, but they didn't get along so well at first. However, they have to face off Lord Zedd, who had just teamed up with Brainiac to take over both universes. And let me tell you, overall, this was a nice and simple read. I'm not a big comic book reader myself, but after reading these 6 issues, I was really impressed on how the Justice League and the Power Rangers came together. We get to see that the Power Rangers can put up a fight with the Justice League. And that's crazy to think about, that the Power Rangers actually had a chance to beat the Justice League in a one-on-one battle. That's crazy to think about. If you're a fan of both properties, you'll love this. Seeing the Rangers dressed up in patchwork armor from other DC heroes, along with the Zords fighting alongside the League, that is something legendary that you can't see anywhere else, only in comic books. And that's why this crossover is so special. Number 6, Once a Ranger. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like Operation Overdrive, but hear me out, folks. This episode sees the return of 5 previous Rangers, as the Overdrive Rangers essentially quit and be regular citizens. That's a big major point for this episode and the whole Overdrive series as a whole, but it just makes sense. When the Rangers has a big threat, they quit a bunch of times, and you can see that throughout history. All that aside though, it's the message here that truly shines. Once a Ranger, always a Ranger. The choice of these 5 Rangers is amazing, and proves for an iconic team within itself and the whole Power Rangers history, full of charm, laughter, and power. And seeing Thrax, Lord Zedd's son, uniting all the Operation Overdrive villains together is a truly one-of-a-kind moment. And seeing Adam lead this team of historic Rangers into battle is just the cherry on top of the whole thing. And that's what I love about all this. The 5 returning Rangers are truly the heart and soul of this whole team up, and really what brings a lot of enjoyment to it. A lot of people see Once a Ranger as a basic, general, boring team up, but I see it as a lot more. With the returning cast and all the jokes and good, fun parts aside, and even the boring, evil parts with the villains, those are all special, and it makes Once a Ranger truly iconic in its own way. Number 5, Thunderstorm. This right here is a classic team-up episode. It's one of the only times that we see 2 Ranger teams clash and battle it out. Lothar is back and turns the 3 Wind Rangers evil, having them go and destroy Reefside. All 6 Rangers return along with the other Ninja Storm villains and allies. This 2-parter did a great job in having the Rangers clash, along with a good job of not letting the other 3 Ninja Storm Rangers down, as Cam, Hunter, and Blake have their own arc, trying to get the Ninja Storm powers back. Overall, an amazing 2-episode arc with a bunch of fun moments, a bunch of moments that had me on the edge of my seat, and the part at the end where we saw the 2 Red Ranger battleizers, oof! Iconic! That was epic! Number 4, Grid Connection.
Hey, if you really want to know what me and Este thought about Grid Connection, you can just watch the review we did a bit together over on my channel, hey? But I will talk about it a little bit. This I thought was a really strong team-up episode, and similar to the 10th Power, but to an even greater degree, what I really liked about Grid Connection is how long they spent setting it up. We get the 2 episodes with Chaku, which do contribute things like the Reanimizer gun, so that is part of that arc, and then 2 episodes with the Dino Charge Rangers that set things up more directly. So this is the end of a 5-episode arc. So a lot of the story is established by the time we get to the important part, which is just watching all these teams and all these Dino Rangers and everything duke it out. I did have my criticisms, as I said in the review. My biggest one is that just like in the Sentai movie that this comes from, I think the Beast Morphers are a little too downplayed in their own team up. There's a lot of focus naturally given to the Dino Rangers, and the Beast Morphers aren't given as much to do. Also, that weird monster Zord thing right at the end was weird. But overall, it was great seeing Jason again, and it was great seeing the Dino Charge Rangers, and even the way they worked in the Dino Thunder and the other Mighty Morphin Rangers was a little weird, but it was good seeing them again. The Megazords, it was a big, huge, nostalgic exercise of fun, and I'm really grateful that Hasbro chose to put it together.
Number 3, Reinforcements from the Future. Next up, we got one of the best team-ups in Power Rangers history, the team between the Time Force and the Wild Force. 3 mutant org hybrids escape from Time Force and head over to 2002. This team-up advances the stories of both seasons as we see Rancic being redeemed. We also see a lot of good chemistry between both Wild Force and Time Forces. It also feels like closure in the whole Time Force storyline in its own way, while also continuing on the morals and lessons from Wild Force. We start with the Wild Force Rangers with Wes and Eric in the present, while later seeing reinforcements from the future. Get it? Because it's the name of the episode. I'm hilarious. So basically, the Time Force is here, along with the now redeemed villains, and they're here to team up and save the world. The choreography in this episode is one of the best in crossover history, making this an overall showstopper, but not exactly number 1. Number 2, Forever Red.
If you have Forever Red number 1 on your list, I don't think there's any way that we can blame you. It is the quintessential Power Rangers team up, the first multi-season spanning team up anniversary event. 10 Red Rangers, and just, it's kind of space opera-esque in that they go to the moon and they're dealing with a Zord in space and everything. The reuse even of the Big Bad Beetleborg suits and voice actors from the show's past, which is a very nice touch. There's elements in this that, if you didn't know, it was actually filmed to be a multi-parter, but Disney insisted that it only be a single episode, that just are very epic in scale, the unmorphed fight in the moon base and everything like that. It does have kind of an unfortunate ending with the toy shoved in for Bandai to provide their support to the episode, with the Wild Force rider taking down a giant evil Zord in Serpentera. But overall, this was an incredible episode celebrating the first major milestone anniversary of the franchise, and Forever Red is something we'll remember forever.
Number 1, Shattered Grid. Now, this is huge and really something the TV show can't pull off on its own. Spanning 15 comic book issues with 2 different series, along with mediums like the RPG show and a whole live action trailer, this was a huge event. Probably the best way to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Power Rangers. Seeing teams from across time and space together fighting an evil version of Tommy Oliver, that's right, Tommy Oliver, evil, Lord Draken, what an evil name by the way. And not just that, seeing the return of legendary villains, allies, and mentors, that's just the cherry on top right here. No wonder this is loved by all fans, and nearly got its own TV show adaptation. I'm gonna let the Orange Ranger tell you more about it.
Shattered Grid. What more can be said about this absolute assault on our senses that was this amazing anniversary event? One thing that really sticks out to me about Shattered Grid is how the TV show really didn't give us much of anything to celebrate the amazing 25th anniversary of this franchise. And we got really great anniversary stuff from other sources. We got Hyperforce, which becomes a part of Shattered Grid, both on Hyperforce and in the pages of the comics, and Shattered Grid itself, which is really what I think of when I think of the 25th anniversary of Power Rangers. Not whatever freaking Ninja Steel did, it's this amazing event that's brave enough to kill Tommy off right at the beginning. Yes, I know he's still the crux of the story and people are frustrated about that, but to have the first thing you do be kill Tommy, I think is a pretty major step in the event. Focus on female characters. 2 of the main characters in this story are Jen Scotts, the Pink Time Force Ranger, and Lauren Shiba, the other Red Samurai Ranger, which I think was a nice step for gender equality in the franchise, but just spanning dimensions, spanning scale, getting that incredible speech from Zordon that I was fortunate enough to hear David Fielding recite at Power Morphicon with Ron Wasserman's voice distorter for Zordon that just gave me chills up and down my arm. This event was absolutely amazing. If you have not read it, you owe it to yourself to pick it up, and it really is, to me, the best team up in the Power Rangers franchise.
That's it for today. Did we miss any episodes? Let us know in the comments down below.
All right, Este, this was a ton of fun. It was great working with you again. We've got to do more of these collabs like this. Orange Ranger and Este working together to talk about Power Rangers, reviewing it, talking about it. Whatever we're gonna do, it's all fun when we're talking about Power Rangers on the internet. E-Squad, if you don't know me, I'm the Orange Ranger. I am a Power Rangers reviewer, which means if it's Power Rangers, the TV show, the comic books, toys, etc., 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 I'll talk about it and tell you whether I think it's good or bad. Why should you care? I really don't know, but I like to make my content entertaining, so I hope you'll stop on over to OrangeRangerVideos, check out some of my videos, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell, all of that stuff. But hey, if you're watching this video, make sure you're subscribed to the E-Squad too, hit the bell on that, all of the good YouTube, etc., etc. Este, once again, always a pleasure working with you, my man, and I hope you have a good one.
Thanks to the Orange Ranger for coming on today, and thanks to all of you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, TheDonFuego. I'm also on Instagram, NotDonFuego. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I love you guys so much. E-Squad forever. And of course, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.